Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into a massive corporate mystery. We have to ask ourselves, why do some of the absolute smartest, most well-funded companies in the world completely fail at AI, while others are out there using it to build truly thinking, dynamic organizations?
So, here is our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the trillion-dollar paradox, the factory logic trap, the 5 transformation gaps, true hybrid intelligence, the AT-Skills success story, and finally, the Monday morning question. Basically, we're navigating all the way from expensive AI failures down to an actual, actionable framework for human-machine synergy.
All right, part 1, the trillion-dollar paradox. Let's get right into this huge disconnect between the record-breaking AI investments we hear about constantly and the real-world business results. To really put the sheer scale of this into perspective, in 2025, global enterprise AI spending surpassed $1 trillion. That's a 1 with 12 zeros. We're talking cloud infrastructure, data platforms, all those shiny new AI systems. But despite that mind-boggling number, the reality on the ground is that most of this investment has just quietly underdelivered.
And get this. According to research from MIT and BCG, an overwhelming 95% of enterprise AI pilots stall out or are completely abandoned. Let that sink in. Only 5% actually achieve rapid revenue acceleration. Why? Well, because companies are throwing money at the technology, but they're totally ignoring the people and processes that actually have to use it. They've completely inverted the investment ratio.
Which brings us to part 2, the factory logic trap. Because the technology isn't the bad guy here, it's our own outdated thinking.
There's this concept called the factory logic trap. For practically a century, we treated work like a rigid assembly line. Input, process, output. And now, we're treating dynamic AI like it's just a slightly faster wrench on that exact same fixed assembly line. But AI doesn't work that way. To actually succeed, organizations have to shift to a hybrid thinking model, one that's dynamic, adaptive, and networked. You literally cannot shove next-generation intelligence into an industrial-era org chart and expect magic to happen.
So, part 3, the 5 transformation gaps. What exactly are the systemic failures killing these AI projects before they even get off the ground? Let's break them down.
Leaders have to cross 5 critical gaps. First up is the workflow reality gap. That's assuming your neatly documented workflows actually match reality while ignoring all the messy workarounds your team uses every day. Second, the AI process gap, failing to explicitly define what AI does versus what humans do. Third is the workforce capacity gap, where companies totally fail to redeploy the human hours freed up by AI. Fourth is the governance gap, ignoring who is actually accountable when the AI messes up. And lastly, the performance gap, just not measuring actual business outcomes.
Let's zoom in on that governance gap for a second, because the fallout here is pretty alarming. A massive 47% of enterprise users reported making consequential decisions based on incorrect AI outputs. Why did that happen? Because nobody bothered to design a human oversight protocol. People just assume AI replaces the need for their own judgment, which leads to incredibly fast, confident, and, frankly, very expensive errors.
Moving on to part 4, building true hybrid intelligence. It's time to stop diagnosing the problem and start building the solution. We need a completely new organizational phase. Think of it as an AI-human matrix with 3 distinct lanes. Your AI-only lane is for high-volume, highly structured tasks, things with very low contextual variation. On the flip side, your human-only lane is for decisions that require deep contextual interpretation, ethics, and relationship building. But the real magic? That happens right in the middle, the collaborative lane. This is where you deliberately design the interaction between the two. And this brings us to the synergy principle. Listen, the goal of hybrid intelligence is absolutely not to eliminate humans just to save a few bucks. It's to liberate us. AI gives us the speed, scale, and pattern recognition that our brains just aren't wired for. But humans, we provide the context, the judgment, and the relationships that machines literally cannot comprehend. Together, they create outcomes that neither could ever achieve alone.
Part 5, the AT-Skills success story. Let's ground all this high-level theory in the real world with an amazing, category-defining success story from the highly regulated aviation and maintenance sector. Meet AT-Skill. This was a joint effort between the Institute of Technical Education and ST Engineering in Singapore. They teamed up to operationalize AT-Skill, bringing governed, hybrid intelligence directly to the depot level for maintenance, repair, and overhaul, or MRO, operations.
The before and after here is just night and day. Before AT-Skill, engineers were relying on totally isolated on-site decisions. Knowledge is basically trapped inside individual technicians' heads, and the default culture was to just escalate problems to the original manufacturers, which, as you can guess, is wildly expensive and slow. But after AT-Skill, the depot itself became the system brain. Diagnostics were standardized, reasoning was structured, and every time a new problem got solved, that knowledge was captured as shared system intelligence.
So how do you make an AI system work in a safety-critical environment without people freaking out? It all comes down to design. They built AT-Skill to run securely offline at the edge, meaning it doesn't need to ping some vulnerable cloud server to work in a secure facility. And crucially, the AI's reasoning is completely explainable. It's not some mysterious black box. It actually guides the human through its logic and requires human-in-the-loop sign-offs. That deliberate design choice built immense trust among the engineers.
The project leaders really hit the nail on the head when they said method matters more than tools. By positioning AI right alongside technicians as a co-learner at the point of work, they weren't replacing the humans. Actually, it was quite the opposite. They scaffolded them. They elevated the human worker, reduced skill gaps, and significantly accelerated the team's overall capabilities.
And that brings us to our final section, the Monday morning question. We've talked about the theory, we've looked at the trillion-dollar paradox, and we've seen the real-world proof. Let's finish up with the ultimate diagnostic test for your own organization.
Here it is, the Monday morning question. Before you approve a massive budget, before you buy a single new tool, you must be able to answer this. When this system goes live, what will a specific named person do differently on Monday morning, and how will we know? If you cannot answer that with 100% confidence, you're just buying a tool. You're not building a hybrid intelligence organization. So looking at your own teams right now, are you ready to change how you think before you change what you use?